They're the two interesting battles, I think. Do Liverpool give Haaland the space, and do City look to play out, or do they look to try and go a little bit bigger, and can Liverpool kind of get a grip on the game? I think Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch, if everyone plays in there, it'll be a really big midfield for them. Final weekend before the international break. Both England and Scotland to have a little title race potentially brewing in them. Hearts are sitting 8 points clear in Scotland. Arsenal 6 clear in the Prem. But let's see if they can keep it that way before the international break. We've got a huge Super Sunday this weekend with Man City and Liverpool at 4:30. Spurs and United's early kick-off to start us off in the weekend at 12:30. Arsenal, the leaders, are away to Sunderland at 5:30. There's a few spicy 3 p.m. games, and we've got the Scottish games as well. So look, let's get into the weekend preview. Going to hit the Premier League first, and then we'll dive into the Scottish League, and I'll give all my full predictions for what I think the scores will be in some games at the end. It's one of those weekends that can shift the mood of the season for me, to be honest. If Arsenal and Hearts both win, they head into the break with real authority and confidence and composure as we hit that busy Christmas period. But if they slip up now, all of a sudden that momentum feels a little bit shaky, and we've got a bit of a title race on in both kind of leagues. So look, every side wants to finish this kind of block of games off strong just before, all the players go off to the international stuff. So I expect, certainly at the top end, but even at the bottom ends of the table, people having that intensity to start to feel the need to get points now we're 10, 11 games in. Let's start with Spurs and United, which is the early kickoff. Spurs had that whole thing with Van de Ven and Jed Spence last week after the Chelsea game, and then Spurs playing the Champions League this week, and they emphatically win 4-0, and Van de Ven has that mad solo Lionel Messi type goal. So let's see where things are there for Spurs. They're sitting fourth. They're a couple of points off the top. United similar. So we've seen how they both were in the Europa League final and everything last season. United probably feeling the best they felt in a long, long time with their fans right now under Amorim and how things are going, and they probably feel balanced for the first time and finally feel a bit settled and feel like they've got a bit of quality. And I think that could be the thing that separates these two teams here on Saturday at lunchtime, is the quality that United have up top. I really like Mohamed Kudus. I've had him on my fantasy team since game one. He doesn't get a lot of goals and assists, though. He needs to get those numbers up a little bit. And we know Mbeumo can hit them, and we know Cunha can hit them, and we know Bruno Fernandes can hit them. Ahmad's a threat from that wing-back position. So that one really is going to come down to those attackers for me. I think United's midfield, against Spurs midfield, I always think that's a big battle. But I don't know. I think it's the attackers in this one. And I think United may just have enough really to edge this one, to be quite honest with you. I hate saying that. I really do. But I just don't know if Spurs have enough in them to beat United. But Spurs doing the Spurs thing, even under Frank, you don't really know what you're going to get from them. Look, it could be a poor one. It really could, but I do expect there to be a couple of goals. I don't think both teams are necessarily too solid at the back. If we just have a look, actually, what's each team conceded. So, Spurs have actually only conceded 8 goals, which is tied second best with Man City. So actually not too shocking at the back, scoring 17, whereas United have conceded 16 and scored 17. So they're trying to still find that balance of keeping clean sheets. So you'd expect Spurs to get at least one in that game, especially with their goals in there. But I think United have got goals in them. I'm going to keep my prediction for it at the end, but I've got a sneaky feeling that Man United might just edge that one, unfortunately, but I will save that for the end. Just quickly, let's have a little look at the kind of 3 p.m. fixtures and a couple of the early 2 o'clock games. We've got Everton and Fulham. That is 14th, should I say, against 15th there. So both sides will want to try and get a win and not get dragged into that kind of bottom group. We've also got West Ham and Burnley, kind of that classic cliche 6-pointer there at the bottom. Burnley can put a little bit more distance between themselves and West Ham in the bottom. But West Ham, after getting that first win under Nuno, could that be the start of the whole Nuno thing kicking off into gear from them, and they're at home again? And it's a game they need to be looking to take 3 points from. And Burnley, I'll feel like they can get something from it too. So that's an intriguing one. I'll skip over Sunderland and Arsenal. Chelsea and Wolves at 8 p.m. I know it was 4-3 in the cup and it was a bit mad, but I don't know if anyone's really wanting to watch that one, to be honest. I don't think I'll be tuning into that one. Probably a bit of a miss for me. Watch this, it'll end up being about 5-5 or something. You then got Villa and Bournemouth, 2 solid teams at 2 o'clock. That's a bit of a spicy one. Brentford and Newcastle, 2 teams that will be physical, like to play set pieces. Brentford, obviously, Newcastle all right at them. Palace and Brighton at 2 o'clock, and Nottingham Forest against Leeds at 2 o'clock. So there's some tasty 2 p.m. fixtures, a lot of them, with a lot of the English teams being in Europe so far this weekend. We then fire into the big one, City v Liverpool. It's two sides that know a lot about each other. It's been the big game in the last kind of 5 to 8 years, that whole Pep and Klopp era. And, Pep Linders is there now at Man City, so he knows Liverpool inside out. And both teams, a little obviously different to where they were in that era right now. And they both still do feel a bit unpredictable. Liverpool have had a great week with beating Aston Villa, and that performance against Real Madrid was massive, and it looked like Liverpool, the title-winning Liverpool team. But can they keep that going, and can they bring it into Sunday, right? And City as well, in transition, looking to really just hit teams with Haaland into space. Teams aren't really feared of Man City anymore, so they give that space to Haaland, which will be an interesting tactical battle. Like, will Liverpool give City that much space? They might back Van Dijk and Konate to deal with Haaland, but I would want to see a little bit of what Liverpool did against Madrid off the ball, tight and compact, and make City have to try and get through you, because I don't think they're that side anymore. I really don't. That they're enjoying playing on that kind of transition phase, and that's a big Pep Linders thing as well. From a Liverpool point of view, they'll want City to play out. It'll be interesting if City decide to go a bit longer and just play directly to Haaland. We know Liverpool have struggled with that in the recent weeks. Villa and Madrid, teams that play out, it suits Liverpool. They can go, they can press them, they can get after it. So will Pep kind of abandon his principles, so to speak, and look to be a little bit more direct? We've seen he did a little something similar against Arsenal, where he just tried to kind of shut up shop and get the win. So he's obviously willing to adapt a little bit more these days. Or will he say we're the home team and we'll get on the front foot and play? So they're the two interesting battles, I think. Do Liverpool give Haaland the space, and do City look to play out? Or do they look to try and go a little bit bigger? And can Liverpool kind of get a grip on the game? I think Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch, if everyone plays in there, it'll be a really big midfield for them. Cherki and Wirtz is an interesting one. Let me know in the comments. Who do we think is going to do a bit better in that game? Cherki kind of the more Liverpool type signing that City made, and Wirtz the more City signing, the big money one that Liverpool made this season. And Wirtz, had a lot of criticism, and I said he could be a Ballon d'Or contender. Maybe not quite happening in this season, but a lot of good signs against Real Madrid at the week, during the week in the Champions League. His work rate, how involved he was in the game, how he kept play ticking together, how he kept things going. And Cherki looked really sharp with Haaland. They're striking up a bit of a relationship. So yeah, let me know in the comments how you think those two are going to go right now. I had a little look at just kind of the overall head-to-heads as well to get an idea on this game. So in total, they've played 61 games. I think this is just in the Premier League, potentially not, but 61 games. City have won 12, Liverpool have won 27, and there's been 22 draws. Interestingly, at the Etihad, there's been 30 games. City have won 10, Liverpool have won 9, with 11 draws, so the Etihad's very tight. That's where it's at this weekend. Compared to Anfield, there's been 31. City have only won twice there. Pretty sure both in COVID, maybe, no? And Liverpool have won 18 times with 11 draws. So, yeah, intriguing one, the last few results there. Liverpool beat City 2-0 at the Etihad. They also beat them 2-0 at Anfield last season in those games. Before that, we've had 2-1-1s. City have had a 4-1 win, and then City have beat Liverpool in the Cup 3-2. That's kind of the last game. So, it's always tight, but it should be a hell of a game. I really hope it's not a boring one. It's hard when you're the fan of a team watching those games to feel like it's boring, because you're just a lot more into it. You've got a lot more energy and passion into it. But look, I'll predict that one. That's going to be my predictions, dear God, at the end of this video. So yeah, keep watching until that point to see it. But I think that could be a game that defines this kind of block of the season, because if one of them can get a win and stay on the coattails of Arsenal, the game I'm about to get into now away at Sunderland, and if Arsenal drop points, we have a hell of a title race in our hands, folk. We'll have a hell of a title race in our hands again. Let's move into Arsenal then. Top of the table away to Sunderland at 5:30. Tough atmosphere, but Arteta and Arsenal just look ruthless. They look like their business. 3-0 win again in the week in the Champions League. And if they win it, they'll head into the break 6 points clear minimum. Huge statement. Keeping that momentum going, getting that feeling of invincibility, that aura of we're not catchable. I had a little look just on the run that they're on at the moment. It is quite impressive. Their 3-0 success against Slavia Prague saw them clinch a 10th win in a row across all competitions. And if you take a look at it, they've beaten Prague. It means they've won 8 matches in a row without conceding for the first time, surpassing the feats of George Graham 1987 team, which is very, very interesting. They've maintained the 100% start to the Champions League without conceding. They're one of only 2 English teams in European Cup history to win their first 4 matches of a season without letting in a goal, the other being Leeds United in 1969 and 1970. They head to Sunderland on Saturday, looking to reach 9 in a row for the first time and chase down Liverpool's English record of 11 straight shutouts set in 2005-2006 vintage Rafa Benitez team. I think they've only faced 12 shots at the moment, Arsenal on them, and that's them won 10 wins in a row for the first time under Arteta. It represents the longest winning run since Unai Emery achieved 11 between August and October 2018. Only 4 times in the history of Arsenal have they strung together more successes in a row, and we are 4 short of those victories ever of 14 again achieved by George Graham's side in 1987. So they're on a historic run for the club. Look, Sunderland, tough place to go. We know they've been decent, but you've got to fancy Arsenal. They've only conceded 3 goals this season. I mean, they've just built that solidity over the last couple of years, and they're adding the goals to it at the other end, and they added the freedom and everything like that, which he's done with Eze and stuff like that. So again, that's going to be one. Is it going to be one of my predictions? It probably will be, but it's a real chance for them just to keep going. But if they drop points, City and Liverpool have to be going into that game on Sunday. Both of them looking to get a win, and all of a sudden, yeah, they're hot on the heels and things get going. Look, let's head up into Scotland. Hearts are flying. They're 8 points clear. They're playing like they're a side that believe it and that they can do it, certainly with how McInnes is speaking. If we have a little look at the weekend fixtures in the Scottish, it's an interesting one because, Hearts, Celtic and Rangers all do play on Sunday. Hearts have got Dundee United at home. Tough game. Dundee United got a lot of goals. They're good at scoring. Hearts are going to need to make sure they're continuing to still be at their best. Dundee have got Rangers. That's the telly game at 3 o'clock on Sunday. So, big one for Danny Rowe. Really should be looking to get a win there, even though Dundee did put Celtic away, but that was right at the end of the Brendan Rodgers thing a couple of weeks ago. And Celtic play at 4 o'clock at home at Kilmarnock. So it's just interesting. Those games are all kind of right next to each other. And I'm sure they'll all be going into the change room at the end of the game, checking out everyone else's scores and seeing how they've done heading into the break. And Hearts will just need to look to continue to maintain, keep the eyes on Scottish football. It's what we've needed. It's what we've wanted for that league to grow. And just see if they can head into that break still with the real kind of authority. Elsewhere on Saturday, it's Falkirk at 3 o'clock at home at Livingston. It's a big one, and St Mirren and Hibs is the Premier Sport game at 5:45. St Mirren obviously heading into the Scottish Cup final, or Scottish League Cup, Premier Sports Cup, what's it even called these days, in the final against Celtic, so they'll be coming in buzzing off of that, and Hibs, as we know, just love a draw. So some intriguing games there, but it's really the Sunday ones, that are the interesting ones with the Old Firm and Hearts all kind of playing around each other. And look, the big thing is just been consistency for me with Hearts. Obviously, they've been winning even when they're not at the best, and that's title winning behaviour, as cliche as it sounds. And before the break, all they need is another solid 3 points just to plant their flag, get to the break and say, we're here, we're for real, come and catch us, and be able to handle that pressure, and we'll see if they're able to do it. But let's get into the predictions. I'm going to fire through both leagues, and I'll get the full video of these up right after on a Friday of just these predictions. So I think I'll go ahead and I'll start with Spurs and United at 12:30. A great game to kick the weekend off. I unfortunately think Man United are going to nick that 1-2-1. I know Spurs haven't conceded too many, and United kind of goal for goal, so there might be a few more in there, but as I said, I just feel like United's attack's better. I don't know, Spurs have got enough, and United are getting... They feel more solid at the back. I know obviously the goals aren't saying that, but it does feel like it. So I'm going Spurs 1, United 2, unfortunately. Sorry, Spurs fans. I would love to say that there would be a little win in there for you guys. Am I going to go with Sunderland and Arsenal? Let me skip over it and just head straight to City and Liverpool first of all. Everything I talked about, can Liverpool just stop Erling Haaland? And is that all you need to do now to stop the City team? And if City are just going to be direct and go big and be strong and long, is that how you beat this Liverpool team? But look, I'm confident. I'm trying to take the tinted glasses off, but I am confident this isn't the City side of years gone by. You can get at them at the back. I think Liverpool have got enough firepower. They're going to be coming into it bouncing after that performance against Madrid, maybe a little tired too, which could play a part. But I'm going to go Liverpool win that 3-1. Yeah, I'm going Man City 1, Liverpool 3. So we'll see how it goes for there. I'm going to predict Hearts against Dundee United. I do think actually Hearts are going to go 1-0 down in that game. I just have a feeling Dundee United are going to get that first goal. But I think Hearts will ultimately come through it, and I think they'll win the game 3-1, and they'll plant their flag in there and say, look, we're top of the league. Come and catch us. Come and get us, and see how it goes from there. And do you know what? We'll do Sunderland and Arsenal just because it means a lot depending on what happens in that game coming into Sunday. But I do think Arsenal are going to sweep that, and I do think they're going to get another 2-0 win. I hope I'm wrong. If Sunderland can get a goal and get the stadium light up and running, get them buzzing, then maybe Arsenal might wobble a little bit. We hope to see it, but I think they're going to get out there with a little 2-0 win, unfortunately. So if we go through it, Spurs 1, Man United 2, Sunderland 0, Arsenal 2, Man City 1, Liverpool 3, and Hearts 3, Dundee United 1 are going to be the predictions. So that's the weekend preview wrapped up. It's the last one before the international break. Hearts and Arsenal lead the way. Can they both hold on? Let's see. Drop all your score predictions in the comments. Don't forget, full video for subscribers on the weekend games and the breakdowns and my thoughts on it all are available to subscribers only on Monday. That comes out. You get the first 5 minutes free here on YouTube. Look, like and subscribe as always. Not looking forward to the break coming up, but it just feels like it's getting going, and that's all because football. It's not just a game; it's spiritual, as the tagline says on this podcast. So, look, catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one, and as always, peace.